again on YouTube. Looks like we're back on now. But yeah, listen, we should be live, so apologies for that. But yeah, I don't really know what to say when it comes down to it. I think, the lineup, as I've just mentioned, I enjoyed. I didn't mind it. I thought there's a few changes in there, but as I said, Rotherham have got the second worst goals against in the division, and it's just embarrassing. Blackburn have got the second worst goals against in the division, only to Rotherham, and it's just embarrassing. It's got to a point now where we just completely look flat, as I mentioned, lifeless, but we looked a little bit better in that first half. But yeah, the lineup, we saw Roberts come in, obviously. We saw, which I liked, I enjoyed that, and I thought Roberts played okay. I mean, the set pieces delivery from him was the only thing that we had going for us today in that department, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Archie went into midfield. But listen, we had a bit of a conversation off air, me and a few people, and I just don't understand why Archie's still in there. He's struggling. He's really, really struggling. And we've said multiple times off air and on air that if Cresswell is to come in, Ampadu can then go into midfield. We've then got an 8 option because Ampadu's been brilliant in central midfield at the beginning part of the season. Maybe that is an option. And Charlie gives us a little bit when it comes to set pieces. We've mentioned this on a lot of the preview streams, and the debrief. That is an option. Archie is knackered. It's just so obvious. Bless him, he offered nothing today. Absolutely nothing. And the only time we had any incremental value in going forward in the midfield was Ampadu in the last 30 minutes, where he's getting the ball and popping it forward and popping it into those little pockets just outside the box, actually playing the ball forward, almost in a number 10 role, taking over Rutter when he went off. So you've actually got a player in Ethan Ampadu who can play forward in that role, wanted the ball and wanted to take a little bit of charge there. Archie was just absent from the game, completely absent from the game. He's knackered. It feels like he's a little bit done in this respect, when it comes to just minutes on the field. He needs a bit of rest and then he can come back in or whatever. But Ampadu was the most effective player going forward in that midfield today, and he was in there for about 20 minutes. Gruev played really well. Then Farke takes him off. Listen, we'll get into the changes in just a little bit because that is something that has literally pissed me off to no end. But yeah, Ampadu was I thought he was good in that midfield when he went in there, and that sort of insinuates to me that maybe Charlie Cresswell, when they're offering nothing going forward, really, Blackburn, in terms of maybe those counter-attacking phases, obviously, but I feel like even with Cresswell on the pitch, we'd have still had control of the ball, we've still been able to manipulate the ball and therefore manipulate space and possession. But Cresswell obviously wasn't included. He's never included because the manager has almost like the same substitutions every single game. And we know who's coming on. We don't know what time they're coming on, but we know who's coming on. So yeah, Archie really struggled with creativity, and maybe Cresswell would have helped a little bit with set piece structures we were calling for in the week. Now people are blaming the other side in terms of the referee, this, that, and the other. I think, I'll be honest with you, everyone, I think that is a loser mentality. If we're every single week blaming the referees, we're blaming the officials, we're doing this, it's all their fault, it's none of our fault, it's not the manager's fault, it's all the referees' fault. I just can't really be bothered with it, to be quite honest with you. I think, you've got to take accountability when it comes to us, when it comes to us and what we're doing. And we've still got play on the pitch, we've still got minutes, we've still got time to do these things. And once again, we had a lot of time to infiltrate the opposition, a lot of time to influence the game, and Leeds United struggled to do it. We really, really struggled to do it when you looked at out and out chances. Conor Roberts cleared one off the line for us. They, from about the 61st to the 65th minute, actually had a spell of possession where they actually looked more incisive and decent in the final third than Leeds did for the entire game. So that's the counter-attacking football that we've played against when it's come to Coventry, that we've played against when it's come to Sunderland, when they've had a couple of chances through Jack Clark. And it just feels at the minute that Daniel Farke doesn't really know how to instruct this Leeds United team to be able to completely break down this opposition, whoever it is. It feels like it's a problem. And we're going to get into exactly why Daniel Farke, in my opinion, is getting this completely wrong at this moment in time. But yeah, we can look at ourselves, and that's what I like to do. I don't like looking at referees unless we've got literally blatant decisions 3 or 4 times throughout a game that are ridiculous, and we can't get on with the game and all this sort of stuff. But we know the officials at this level are appalling. We know that other opposition players, because they're weaker players, are going to try stifle our play. And I don't, if your pair's in net today, if you're Pickering, you're going to waste time. Of course you are. You're coming up against opposition, against caliber, against quality, far superior to you. So how do you equalize that? You go down. you start playing on the referees. And the referees in this country, never mind just this division, aren't strong enough to deal with that. So the gamesmanship comes into it, and look what they got out of it. Look what they got out of it. Look what Sunderland got out of it the other night. Look at what Stoke have got out of it before at the Britannia. This has happened throughout the season. We can't rely on the referees to help us out. We have more than enough quality on that pitch when it comes to Nonto, when it comes to Somerville, when it comes to Rutter, when it comes to Perot, bought for nigh on 16 million quid, to be able to deal with the Blackburn side, who Rotherham have only conceded more goals than. There's no excuse. No excuse. And I'm not having it. It's absolute rubbish when it comes down to that sort of side of the thing. We waste so much time. We waste so much time. We can talk about the opposition. We can talk about the referee. What about our crap build-up when it comes to sloppy build-up, when balls going out of play, when we're making poor decisions in the final third, when we can't beat the first man when it comes to corners, when we can't beat the first man when it comes to balls in off our own back, when we're in really, really good positions, when it comes to slow passes, slow tempo. What about us? Let's look at ourselves in these things. We're wasting time. The opposition are wasting time, but when we have the ball, we are wasting time. So that's something we've got to look at as well, to be honest with you. Strauch, we talk about set pieces, and we've talked about set pieces for maybe until January. What's happened since? What happened in January? Oh yeah, Pascal Strauch was omitted from the side. Oh yeah, the build-up got sloppier when Pascal left the side, and we had people telling us all the time, "Oh, Pascal, he's not as good." Ampadu and Rodon at the back are so elite, and Strauch shouldn't be nowhere near this side. That's what I was seeing on my timeline. That's what I was seeing in my YouTube comments. I was getting called deluded for wanting Pascal Strauch back into this side. His build-up is the best in that side when it comes to a defensive structure. Ampadu, as we've even seen in that last 20 minutes, will be such a better component in that midfield. Much better in that midfield. Okay. And then from set pieces, we are an abomination. I'm literally watching us from set pieces and cringing. I'm watching it and I'm thinking, my God, imagine managers looking at this. Imagine managers looking at this Leeds United side and setting up against us. It must be the most easiest thing. They must just be like, just boot the ball out. Lads, just boot the ball out, honestly. Like, they'll do nothing. There's a couple of times as well where Harry Pickering just put the ball behind and Wharton put the ball behind. I thought to myself, are they doing this on purpose? Are they actually doing this on purpose? Because they've got big lads in there. We're easy to play against when it comes to corners and set pieces anyway. So do we actually reckon they're doing this on purpose? And it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. As I've mentioned with Cresswell not being even in the conversation anymore, not even as a substitute, not even as a Hail Mary with 20 minutes to go, an option to put on the pitch, because he did quite well with Millwall when it came to winning aerial battles in general and at set pieces going forward. Imagine that as just an option, a different option, so we can actually do something from set pieces. The ball's in. You have 4 different set piece takers per game. Well, how is that going to build up when it comes to momentum and consistency? I'm the set piece taker. Someone needs to demand that, but they don't. The ball's in, have no whip. They're either overcooked or undercooked. Somerville set the tone within the first minute 34 when his first corner of the game, it bounced before it got to the first man. And you think these are professional footballers. And Daniel Farke's coming out after the last game going, "Oh, well, I think we should have scored from one of the set pieces." Well, what are you doing, Daniel, in training? What are your staff doing in training? The fine margins in football are the ball going in off someone's arse, a deflected shot. We've seen that with Ipswich Town this season. The standard of their goal going in hasn't always been pretty. It's not always been expert football and playing the opposition team off the park. It's been scrappy goals at points to win them games, set pieces. Substitutes coming on earlier and taking shots from 25 yards out and it going in. Listen, it's all those little fine details that in football, if they go in, they'll win you a game, they'll win you a championship. And at this moment in time, it's option one. The overlaps, the ball's in, and let's hope for Somerville and Rutter to do something. But I just think since Strauch has been out of this side, we have been absolutely diabolical when it comes to doing anything on set pieces. Absolutely minging. And it's such a shame that is the case, because that seems to just be a blueprint, something that we're playing with right now. So it is what it is. Strauch been out the sides, just killed us, I think, when it's come to set pieces. I've got down here, Bamford gets another 30 minutes. So at the minute, we've got the manager who rewards someone being out of form. We've got him who puts Joel Perreault on as well, when Perreault's last big moment was missing an absolute gilt-edged chance to get us a point against Coventry. So someone, in my opinion, who doesn't probably, on the basis of like a meritocracy, deserve to be in the side, he starts, which is, listen, because Bamford was out of the side, I looked at that lineup at the start and I put it out on Twitter. I thought, good. So it's better. And it is better because Roberts is in there, Nonto's in there. They were the main sort of fall for me there. You know, I fell for that. I thought Nonto being back in the side's a big one. Archie been taken out of that right back spot. Then I realised Archie was in central midfield. They were the main ones, but Nonto was the main one for me. You know, we're going to get onto him in a little bit. Don't worry about that. But Bamford getting another 30 minutes. He comes on. Obviously, Perreault starts the game, and Perreault once again is just the Perreault that we've seen throughout the season, who is sluggish in build-up, slow on the turn, and drops deep, and really gives you no option with the number 9. Gives you no option sort of in and around the box. Gives you no sort of striking ability as well from outside the box. There's nothing really. There's nothing really that you get from your Perreault at this moment in time, in my opinion. So Daniel Farke rewards Joel Perreault for whatever reason. I'm not 100% sure. And yeah, he starts. So you've got a player in Matteo Joseph who has obviously got the, Borough have just scored. Yeah, I've just seen that, everybody. Yeah, which is great. It's fantastic. So let's not change what's going on now. Let's not just change what's going on, please. As a fan base, let's not all just say it doesn't matter right now. It's great. Stuff like that's fantastic. We'll wait and see what happens. But right at this moment in time, we need to see more from Leeds United. So let's get into the analysis of the game. Why is Perreault starting? That's my question. I think Matteo Joseph deserves a start. 2-2 against Chelsea. He then benches him for the full game. And doesn't come on against Huddersfield, and he's got no reward since, even though he's got the best goal to minute ratio in the Leeds United side. Perreault starts, Bamford comes on, misses another gilt-edged chance. I don't really understand what is going on at this moment in time. But you know, we need to let's just analyze what's going on right now when it comes to Leeds, everybody. Then we can talk about the full picture. We're going to be doing the full-time show this afternoon as well, where we talk about Leicester and Ipswich as well. Can somebody tell me why Nonto was taken off? Someone tell me why Willie Nonto was taken off. The danger man. Someone who I thought was the best player on the pitch offensively when it came to Leeds United. Farke takes him off. I thought Roberts was decent as well. You had players who were on yellow cards. In that Blackburn defence who still weren't really troubled by Leeds, and bringing Willie Nonto off was a big problem for me. I thought he was our best player. Grove was taken off as well, and then he brings on Matteo Joseph with 8 minutes to go. I just don't understand it, everyone. I don't understand it. Let's get into a couple of your comments. Look, I know what everyone's saying. I know everybody's getting excited by Borough, and we don't know how this is going to play out. We're not, you know, we're 25 minutes in, guys. The realism is right now we can get excited about Middlesbrough. We can get excited about, you know, other like Plymouth. We can do that. A lot of the teams are faltering right now, but at this moment in time, right now, even if Ipswich were to lose the game, I have no confidence in us right now against QPR. That is the bottom dollar. I have no confidence in us against Middlesbrough. They are the form team in the division right now, and we are dropping off a cliff. The manager has some serious questions to answer. Why are you starting Joel Perreault? We encourage him at the start, but what has he done to get in as your number 9? What is Matteo Joseph not doing to make it into your thought process? Are you just being stubborn? What is with the managerial decisions to bring Jaden Anthony on when Crescencio Somerville is having a stinker with 2 minutes to go? Why? You know, and this is the thing right now. We can talk about the other teams losing. We can talk about this, that, and the other. But that's what we're relying on. We have to have the other teams losing right now. Otherwise, we're in a pickle. We've got a manager who I think is making some really shocking decisions when it comes to in-game management, in-game substitutions. And I'm really worried about that because I know this is going to turn. We cannot just keep relying on other teams losing. We've got to take care of our own business. We've still got to go to Middlesbrough away. We've still got QPR away from home, Southampton at home. These are tough games. Leicester still have a game in hand on us. They still have another game to play. That's another opportunity for 3 points. They've still got West Brom to play. They've still got Southampton to play at home, but they've still got an extra game to make those points count. Leeds United right now are not good enough. We're nowhere near good enough. We've completely fallen off, and I don't know what's going on. I mentioned on the last video about it being a fizzle thing, and it feels like a fizzle thing right now. And I'm really, really struggling because yes, it's great that maybe we're going to get something else. It feels like hopefully something's going to happen. Hopefully something's going to happen when it comes to these teams dropping points. Hopefully we're still going to see Ipswich lose today. I don't know what's going to happen. Even if Ipswich do lose today, I still have a mass worry with our team right now. I still have a worry with our manager, and I have a real worry with the confidence and mentality. I don't understand these changes right now. I don't understand it. The style of play isn't being changed. We're not quick enough at all. We're pedestrian. We're slow. We're bad on set pieces. The tempo is all wrong. I don't know what to do right now when it comes to proper analysis of the game, because I think Daniel Farke is getting this all wrong. And what we can hope right now is that Middlesbrough do get a result today, and then at least we're all at even playing field, and we can talk and we can be a little bit happier, right? But if they are to get a result, if Ipswich are to get a point or something like that, it's irrelevant, because at least they're back on the horse right now. Leeds are off it, completely off the boil. And to say, everybody, at the start of the week, we were saying it's a minimum 6 points. 6 points, and we've got 1. I can't take positives from it. How do you take positives from it? Someone's just put Southampton are going to go up as champions. They must be laughing right now. Southampton still 2 games in hand, and they're thinking, we can get them here. We can get them. So they might come to Leeds on the last day of the season. We all think, oh, Southampton are out of it. Everybody else is losing, but Southampton are right there. And they might be right back in the equation now with what's going on with Leeds, Ipswich and Leicester. They might be right back in it. Today, I thought there was a simple way to reward certain players, certain personnel. I completely understand Perot's involvement at some point. I don't understand why Anthony doesn't get any involvement. And suddenly, Pat Bamford gets 30 minutes, of which he misses another big chance. So it's going to be on Daniel Farke. It's going to be on Daniel Farke. If we don't go up this season, the amount of chances, and you can't solely blame him, the amount of big chances he's potentially given Pat Bamford over the season, and he's not rewarded him back. What's he doing? I don't understand what he's doing. But Daniel Farke will come out and defend himself, and then tell us as fans not to be bigging up the youngsters too much, even though the youngster at the club in Matteo Joseph has got as many goals per minute ratio, the best goal per minute ratio than anyone at the club. But we can't hype him up too much. And Pat Bamford's got a bad confidence level, so we shouldn't criticise. It's not about criticism, it's constructive criticism. It's looking ahead at you, Daniel Farke, and saying, what are you doing? Why are you rewarding him with minutes? Why? What are you doing? If anything, you inhibit in his confidence. Right, let us get into some of your comments, everybody. I'm really interested to hear what you say. Mr. P says positive vibe for Middlesbrough only, no positives. Yeah, and that's it, Mr. P. That's exactly it. We can't give us any positives, no positives for us. But once again, we're hoping. And then when we're hoping, it's like, well, then Leeds have got to go to QPR. We've got to go to Middlesbrough. Are we looking at our side right now and thinking we're going to do it? No chance. No chance. You've had Blackburn and Sunderland at home, and you've got a point and scored no goals. And we think we're going to be going to a relegation scrap in QPR and Borough, who are now top of the form table, even before this game today, and we're going to win. Once again, we're just hoping towards the end of the season that every other team's going to lose and Southampton don't come back into it. Is that really what we're doing now? Business end of the season, we're just completely bottling it. And I really am struggling to find comfort in the fact that other teams just losing around us, because what's the point if we don't capitalise? What's the point? Phil says, we have seen this over the years, Wigan vibes. It's just Leeds in mentality when it comes to lose. Who lost? And to lose to them, who lost 5-0 to Bristol City, is criminal. That's it, Phil. That's it. 5-0. 5-0 to Bristol City. I think Leeds right now, honestly, could play 90% of this division and we struggle. We just look, we're taking an extra touch. The passing sloppier. The efforts on goal are sloppier. everything looks like it's ridden with no confidence, like a pressure mentality. The pressure is completely getting to them. That's my big worry. My big worry right now is the pressure is completely getting to them. It's that extra touch. It's that thought again before you're having a go at goal. It's the, oh, should I do that? Should I do that? And overcooking a pass, undercooking a pass. You know, your connection with the ball being all off, underhitting, overhitting. You know, and that's my worry right now. So we are just hoping, let's hope that every other team just loses. Daniel Farke has got to really sort it out, in my opinion, though. There's not. I'm still seeing. Look, I understand the players have got to be defended. Have got to be, looked at 100%, and everybody's right there. But there's a manager who can change up a style. There's a manager who can change up personnel there. He is the man at the helm. He's the man making the decisions. He's given Joseph 9 minutes again. Joseph scored twice against Chelsea, and his man management of that situation, of that specific situation, was to not play him at all against Huddersfield in a 1-1 draw. Why? Why? Is this just an ego thing for you, Daniel? Is it just trying to prove a point? I have no idea. I really, really don't know. Jayden Anthony coming on with 2 minutes to go when Somerville's having a stinker. And Jayden Anthony, who came on and put, 3 balls into the box in about 4 minutes. Good quality balls as well. Takes Willie Gnonto off, who put an absolute peach of a ball in for Patrick Bamford, his favourite man, who missed an absolute sitter again. Willie Gnonto was the best player on the pitch, in my opinion, today. He takes him off. Why? So I worry about him as well. I just worry about the manager. I really worry about the manager at this moment in time. He's got us to this point, but I'm not talking. Ipswich have just scored. There we go. So now we'll now see the comments completely change. There'll be a different theme in the comment section. You know what I mean? So this is what I'm talking about, everybody. This is why, we can't rely on other teams. It's got nothing to do with us. What did have something to do with us was today against Blackburn Rovers, against a side who are terrible side. And we've let them do that to us today. And I'm blaming Daniel Farke again, because I think it's his fault again. I know the players on the pitch have got, they're not great at the minute. I thought Somerville was atrocious today. Worst game in this season. Rutter was awful. But the manager's got the ability to change that. He's got the ability to utilise Jayden Anthony. He's got the ability to utilise Joel Perreault in the 10 or whatever and bring Joseph on. He's got the ability to put Joe Gelhardt on or whatever. He can put Gnonto inside and then put Dan James on out wide. Gnonto can play in that 10. He does it for Italy. So what we talk, there's options there. But no. When Perreault's stuck in the mud, as we've seen all throughout the season, he then decides to bring another stuck in the mud player on in Pat Bamford. So then you've got no pace whatsoever up front, and then he takes Gnonto off. And he brings Jayden Anthony on with 2 minutes to go. The manager needs to be questioned today. A lot to be discussed, everybody. Ruben's in the building and says maybe Crean needs to be... Yeah, he does. Yeah, well, that's fine, though. That is fine, Ruben. And you're right. Maybe he does need to be rested. But Anthony can't do that. Anthony can't rest him. Anthony can't bring himself on. Somerville can't rest himself. The manager's got to do that. And the manager's at fault today. Again, there is no excuses for him not to be blamed for us losing at home to Blackburn Rovers. And it's happened again. So out of Coventry, Watford, Hull, Blackburn and Sunderland, those 5 games were probably at the beginning of this campaign, you're saying, yeah, we've got to get at least 4 wins there. We've got 1 win. And we're now solely relying on Middlesbrough beating Ipswich, Plymouth beating Leicester. And let's hope right now that can keep going. Because if that doesn't keep going, it's gonna sink us into 3rd. Richard says, end up with a shit team in the Championship when we lose our best players. Let's not do this as well. Let's not do this as well, everybody. I saw something online and I had to call it out. Someone said online, I don't mind us staying in the Championship. Have we just ignored the accounts this week? Have we ignored the fact that we need to owe about 73 million quid in by June? How are we doing that in the Championship? How are we doing that in the Championship? The worst thing for Leeds United to do would be to remain in the Championship. It's going to be awful. We're going to lose all of our best assets. We're going to have to pay a hell of a lot of money back. And that's the best option because people don't want Premier League, so we'll get battered. Get to the Premier League. If we get battered, fine. But at least we can make additions there. We can help ourselves when it comes to monetary gain, monetary value, moving players on, getting better value for players. Staying in this division is the worst possible outcome. Please do not get yourself into that mentality. Just look at the accounts. Look at how much a Nonso, a Somerville, a Rutter would go from the Premier League from Leeds United as opposed to us being in the Championship. It is absolutely night and day. Would rather see Gelhardt as an impact sub above Bamford. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And then some people say, yeah, but Gelhardt hasn't played all season. Well, then maybe that's a wild card. That's a wild card shout, which is great. Something that's not predictable, which Daniel Farke is at the minute. Anthony, in his 8-minute cameo, was more effective than Creed the entire game, starting versus Borough. Gray back to right back looks lost in midfield. I think, to be honest, Ruvi, I'd be subbing him, to be honest. If Ipswich win, it's over, Conor. It's fair to Farke. He made 5 position changes, and you think they'd lift the game. He gave the ones he dropped half hour, and Bamford had 2 great shots. He did, Dave, but why is he bringing Bamford on? Why? Doesn't bring Joseph on, brings Bamford on. Tell me why, Dave. Big changes needed for QPR. Anthony for Creed, Joseph at 9, Perot for Rutter, Kamara for Gray. Post-match interview bingo, Sam, will be post-match interview bingo right now will be we had many chances, we had many set pieces, we didn't score, we should be scoring from a set piece or something like that. And then he'll be asked about Matteo Joseph, and then he'll tell us again that there shouldn't be too much pressure put on Matteo Joseph. But then the pressure's been piled on Patrick Bamford now because he's out of form and has missed another massive chance today, but then gets rewarded. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? That's maybe why I'm not a manager and Daniel Farke is. I do not get it. Do not get it. Bottlers and Nonto being subbed off is a crime. Completely agree with you, mate. Don't know, Conor. I totally agree with you, pal. Joseph can do more. 2 great goals against Chelsea and shows intensity all the time. Then gets dropped, mate. Try to figure that one out. Mr. P says Farke will double down this team selection. I can see him bringing Bamford back in before Joseph starts. I agree, mate. I agree. It just feels right now, I don't understand. It feels like he's trying to prove a point. And now he's sort of put his colours to the mast, really, when it comes to Joseph, us not hyping Joseph up too much and not getting on Bamford too much as well. He seems to think that, okay, well, we can't go for Joseph, can't do Joseph. But then, okay, if you don't believe that, that's fine. But bring him on at half-time, fella. Do something at half-time as a manager. But what do? Again, you give Bamford 30 minutes. You give Anthony 2 minutes and Joseph 9 minutes. Doing the same thing again and expecting different results. The sign of what, everybody? That's been it from me. We're going to be live, everybody, throughout the day. We'll probably do something else full-time with Conor in a little bit. We're doing something tomorrow when it comes to 3 things as well. I want your thoughts on that as well. Get your likes in on this video. Check out Gabe's stream as well, everybody, from the one before if you want a different perspective. I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.